A new poll found that 47% of Americans oppose Colin Kaepernick's protest, while only 32% support Kaepernick. The poll also found that 44% of NFL fans say they'd stop watching NFL games if more players protested during the anthem. Shannon, what's your reaction?
Skip, I want to be fair as I possibly can with this poll that was taken. The poll was taken on September 13th, September 14th. We know what 9/11 means in this country. It's the one time that the majority of Americans will unite, and that flag flying actually means something to them. So taking that poll 2 and 3 days after the 9/11 maybe swayed some people to think one way as opposed to the other.
Maybe so.
But if you look at it, like most things that happen in America when it's dealing with race, it's right down the line between age and race. If you look at the millennials, 18 to 34, 39% are in favor of what he's doing as opposed to 30 that's opposed. If you look at the racial divide, 63% of the black American says, I think it's fine what he's doing. 24% of the white Americans. As I said earlier, 18 to 34, but if you look at those that's 55 and older, 65% look at it as unfavorable. Now, those are the ones that grew up in the 60s, late 50s, 60s, when things were segregated. And I find it ironic that they say this, because what you keep hearing with his protest is that him taking a knee and some of the other guys taking a knee. Some guys are raising their fists. Megan Rapinoe, she started taking a knee. They said by him doing that, it's dividing the country even more, and it doesn't think it's not going to accomplish anything. But in 1963, Dr. King's March on Washington, 60% viewed it unfavorable. And they said, I quote, stating that it felt it would cause violence and would accomplish nothing. So here we are, almost 50 years to 55, 54, 53 years to the day, almost. And the exact same argument they used then, they're using now. But I want to bring something even more into our focus. There's an incident that happened over the weekend. There was a bombing that transpired in New York. They said that the suspect, he might be armed and extremely dangerous. Not only did he validate what they thought would be, he got into a shootout with the officers, and they took him alive. We have an incident in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a black man. His vehicle breaks down in the middle of the road. He's asking for assistance, but as I told you a week ago, Skip, 2 weeks ago, they didn't see him as someone needing help. They saw this. So not only did they not give him help, they gave him something that they could never bring back. They took his life. Now, they keep saying we're going to have transparency and we want to, they keep saying non-compliance. That's the term, non-compliance. All on my Twitter, if you don't want to get shot, when the police tell you to put your hands up, put your hands up. Here is a guy. Now, mind you, you can hear they're saying he looks like a big bad dude. No idea who he was. Now, the bombing suspect, not only did he set the bomb off, it injured 29 people. They said he could be armed and extremely dangerous. He validated their point by getting into a shootout and shooting 2 of the officers. One was saved by his vest. They took him alive. A black man's car broken down in the middle of the road with his hands up. They say non-compliance. A big bad dude. He looks like a big bad dude. You see what they see? They didn't see a guy needed help. They saw a black man. This is what Colin Kaepernick is talking about. See, we're still talking about the knee. We're still talking about the flag. But at some point in time, we're going to have to address these issues. And then and only then can we start the process of coming to some sort of resolution of race in America.
Okay, well said. And I'm going to say this once again on this show. Said it to you several times already. My biggest picture takeaway from what Colin Kaepernick originally did and others followed suit is it has created a national conversation and a focus on the very issue, the staggering problem that this nation faces that you just detailed once again, that way, way too many black men have been killed by white officers without any punishment, any checks or any balances within that police department. And we talked about solutions, that white cops got to turn in white cops that they know are racist. If they see racist behavior, they have to blow that internal whistle. That's the only way we can have checks and balances within police departments. So that it has to start at the grassroots. So we've talked and talked. I'm with you on all of the above. But now we're back to this poll. I don't know how scientific this is. I don't know if it's really representative of the way our nation breaks down on this. But I think we share this. We are not surprised at how polarizing these results reflect our country. It is split right down the middle. Now, I have a couple takeaways here. 44%, says the poll, say they will stop watching the National Football League, as Joy pointed out, if these protests continue. To your point, contextually, the poll was taken September 13, 14, so it was right after 9/11. 44% is high. Roger Goodell's eyebrows are going to rise on that.
Absolutely.
My take on that is there is no way they're going to quit watching the National Football League. They can say it in the poll. They can check will not watch or whatever they want to say. That's fine, and I'm sure that just demonstrates how strongly they are opposed or were on that day to Colin Kaepernick's protest and those that followed. And they said they'll stop watching if the protests continue.
Right.
Okay? Baloney on that. But again, just shows you how vehement they are in their anti-stance.
Correct.
Now, we have in one section of this poll a suggestion that 2/3 of people polled are not supporting Colin Kaepernick, and that was high to me. That seemed high because only 47%, if I'm right about this, of the 47% are opposed, right?
Yep.
That's overall, just 47% opposed. 15% neutral, 6% don't know what they think about it. So that means 68% are not supporting Colin Kaepernick. That surprised me a little bit, okay? And it also surprised me that 63% of black respondents said they do support.
Right.
Well, that means a whole lot of black respondents did not.
Right.
Okay? And to your Dr. King stat that you threw out, 60% opposed back in what year was it?
I think it was 63, March on Washington.
Okay, the March on Washington. Okay, 60% were opposed, but that meant that 40% of those polled said, go doctor, go, right? Okay, well, that's pretty high to me, that 40% in 1963 said, do it, go march, doctor, we're with you on this. I don't know about the black-white breakdown of those 40%, but my point is, it's just so polarized. We're split right down the middle, but this is indicating to me that we're leaning slightly against Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Okay, no surprise here, but my takeaway again is good, because you always say you got to make people uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So if 68% are made uncomfortable overall, good. Way to go, Colin. Again, did he plan on this happening? Was this all masterminded by Colin? No, but it was a good thing. In the end, history will say this was a positive step for this country.
I don't know if it was Gallup, but they took a poll in 1963, the year before Dr. King won the Nobel Peace Prize, and they 10 most disliked figures in the world. He finished second to Nikita Khrushchev during the Cold War. A poll in our country, Dr. King.
I'm not surprised by that.
That's what I'm saying. See, the problem that Black America, and
but Dr. King was shaking people up, right?
And that's what, Skip, I don't have a problem, but my thing is, look, I'm not going to say I'm speaking for all Black America. There are some Black Americans that feel Shannon Sharpe got out, you can get out. Michael Jordan, Denzel Washington got out, Oprah got out. You should get out.
Okay.
That's a naive way of thinking. Because if all I do concern myself with is Shannon's well-being, I'm a terrible human being. Mary Porter did a terrible job raising us. It bothers me. It really annoys me that people say, well, he's doing this to gain Twitter followers or Facebook likes. He's doing this because he lost his starting job. He's changing his hair. What about evolution? When can a man evolve into in order to be something greater than he is right now? He projects down the road. Muhammad Ali said it best. He says, if you see yourself today the exact same way you saw yourself 5, 10, 15 years ago, you've just wasted 5, 10, 15 years of your life.
I'll buy that.
So Colin Kaepernick is supposed to be the same guy that we see. We assume the tatted up guy that was running all around, that with his hair, he can't decide how. What does his hair have to do with anything? Whether it's cornrowed, whether he is an afro, whether it's low, what does that have to do with anything? Because what is shown us in America, if we don't like something, it doesn't matter what you look like. Because Dr. King was as well groomed, as articulate, as great an orator as there's ever been in the USA. Forget the US, the world. When you talk about orators, you talk about Gandhi. You talk about Churchill. You talk about JFK. You talk about Dr. King. You talk about all these figures could speak to the masses and people would gravitate towards it. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you sound like. It doesn't matter how you dress, peaceful or not. See, they say, well, you can protest, so don't riot. Okay, we're not riot, we're doing peaceful. See, not only do you not want us to protest, then if we do protest, you want to tell us how to protest. Well, I want you to do it like this. Well, see, if I do it like that, you're telling me what to do because you feel now that doesn't bother you. I'm trying to bother you. I'm trying to shake your very conscience because I want you to have this serious conversation with me, but for so long, you've been denying it. You've been pretending that it doesn't exist. You're telling me, Shannon, if you don't talk about it, it'll go away. You're telling Colin Kaepernick there's a better way to do it because you're dividing America more than it actually is, and I don't really see any good coming out of it. The very thing that you told Dr. King on his march to Washington, and he was very nonviolent. So this is what I don't, what, when, how can we have this conversation where you don't say, Shannon, look at you, bro. You good. You on TV, you played 14 years, you're in the Hall of Fame. I get that. I get that I'm okay. I get that I've been able to come out of poverty and was able to take care of my grandmother. But everybody doesn't have that luxury. That's not right of Shannon to only think of Shannon.
Okay, so you're using your platform to fight back.
But what bothers me is that when people in my race have a voice and speak to the nature of, I made it, so can you. Kind of, Booker T. Washington had a lot of these very beliefs that we could succeed on our own. And, a lot of what's going on in the black community is self-inflicted. I get it. But it's 34 million of us. And they're not 34 million Shannon Sharpes. They're not 20,000 Oprahs. They're not 15,000 Denzels. So if we stop thinking along those lines, because as I said before, nobody thinks the LBG community is doing well because Ellen has a talk show. That's not how they think. But because they see a few successful, you got a 2-term black president. It's almost like, Skip, we scored a touchdown in the first quarter and everything's good. Now we won the game. Since we have a black president, 2-term black president, I might add, everything's good. What the cell phone and social media has done, what we thought was getting better, and it has gotten better somewhat, is highlighted. I'm not waiting till 6 o'clock to hear it. I'm not waiting the next day. When this happened, people was talking about it that night. And the next day it was up. What concerns me, Skip, and I tell people this all the time, it's not what I see, it's what I don't see. What I see on cell phones, what I see on camera, on police vests, and cameras, that doesn't concern me because I see it. What am I missing that I can't see? That's what should concern America, because this is bigger than what we previously thought.
Okay, my bottom line, I would suggest to you that even though 68% of these respondents to this poll are saying they don't support or they don't know or don't care about Colin Kaepernick, so 68%, that doesn't mean they're not listening to what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? Just because they're not supporting,
Right.
they might be shaken up enough
Right.
to open eyes and ears and say, wow, that is a big problem.
That's all we ask.
Okay.
That's all we ask. Open your hearts, open your minds. Because if you say, well, this is the only way I can view it, this is the only way I think about it, this is not in my community, I'm not like that, then we can start the ball. Then we can start the process of a conversation and a resolution.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up those points about MLK because, again, that's the biggest thing for me is the denial.
Right.
There's so much revisionist history. The same people that will condemn Colin Kaepernick will speak so highly of MLK and not think about everything in perspective and the times and
Right.
the differences and the similarities, which is
Yes.
scary.